Today we have a new special guest all the way from New York. Alex is a salesperson turned entrepreneur. Alex has sold over 1.5 million in sales during his 20-year career in corporate sales. On his journey, he's helped start up businesses and has now started his own mobile application called Salon Home.
Absolutely.
My man Alex, how you doing,
Absolutely.
bro?
Man, I'm just grateful to be here, man. It's been a rough 1 year and going into the next year for a lot of people. So excited to be here. I feel like the people that make it through this sort of pandemic are going to be highly blessed and highly favored. After this thing is over. So I thank you for inviting me on, and I hope that everything continues to kind of go up for yourself and your podcast.
Oh, appreciate that, man. I appreciate you, bro. I definitely appreciate you. And I thank you for coming on the show, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always good to talk to you. And today we're here, we be on the show. So let's make it happen.
Awesome. I'll let you shoot. You can go ahead and kick it off.
All right, for sure. So how did you successfully start your first business?
It's a good question. I've done a lot of businesses, man. I think with business, it's a, you start something up, you fail, you start something else up, but you fail again. But the most important thing that I've learned over the years is that, you want to learn from, what you failed in, and, you have some successes along the way. But, initially when I started my first brick and mortar business, it was a hair salon barbershop in Atlanta. I remember sitting in the office in New York, working for a corporate company saying, I'm making all of this money for these corporations. I think at that point when I was planning out my salon, I had just done a deal with a company called GDS that I was working for on Wall Street. Just done a deal for about $50,000. And I was just like, wow, what if that would have been, all of my money, in my pocket? I can do so much more. So, started that business just by just sort of researching the market, really trying to understand where I can make the most impact. I started building out a spreadsheet on what it would cost, how many people would I need to frequent the business on a daily basis in order to, sort of make the money that I was going to spend out, make that money back. And then I literally pulled my manager into the office and told him that me and my family decided to move back to Atlanta. I really didn't tell him it was for the business. It was mostly told him that we just had a family decision. And so I took about 40 grand that I had already saved up. And I literally found a head hairstylist who was on Love and Hip Hop and on Housewives of Atlanta. His name is Willie Alexander. So me and Willie partnered up. He brought all the hairstylists, and I just literally brought the money and bought the building. Did a 1-year lease on the building. Basically went in and painted the entire things, the entire building inside of it. Put all the chairs in and so on, and we started that business. The very first client that we had in that business, once we opened the doors, was the girl Breeze from Empire.
Okay.
I remember Breeze and her mom were like the first clients, and it was just on to the races after that. Wow. In that particular business, it had its ups, it had its downs. But the thing that I learned the most was the beauty industry. I had never looked at it the same after I started a business. And so with that business, I decided to stay in this business because there's tons of people and there's tons of like upward momentum. And so we'll get into, sort of what I did after that.
Wow. That's a lot to take in. That's amazing, man. It sounds like, you've done quite a lot for yourself, starting up and, making those hard decisions and stuff like that. That's pretty dope, man. Pretty amazing to hear.
That's right. As a boss, man, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to make the tough decisions, man. And and I've made a lot of those. So never stray away from, stepping up to the plate and making the right decision for yourself and your business.
So do you see yourself as like a risk taker? Do you like taking risks and making those hard decisions to do the things you love to do?
I feel like well, first of all, we're all risk takers.
Right.
Just to be honest with you, every day that we walk out of the house is a risk.
Absolutely.
So I'm a risk taker in the sense of business. I do believe that if one person is, starting a business or a corporation or whatever the case, and they're super successful, I believe I can do the same thing. So
Sure.
I definitely always have betted on myself. But it takes a lot of courage to,
Yeah.
sort of switch gears and then move into a business for yourself, because there are a lot of tough days. And so it takes a lot of courage, a lot of backbone to continue to push on, because, when those tough days are here, you're going to need a support system to, keep you going. So in that sense, I am a risk taker. But I've been taking risks forever, so I know how to handle it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As you should. Yeah, that's real good, man. So what are some of the pitfalls that you'd like people on this podcast to be aware of when starting a business?
Man, I think we just discussed one.
Yes.
When you're starting a business, you got to understand that you're the boss.
Right.
And so a lot of us are not really used to being the boss, even though we want to be a boss. And so you got to be really willing and ready to make those tough decisions. You got to be really willing and ready to, stay in the fight,
Right.
not give up. If it's something that you strongly believe in, funding is always going to be an issue with businesses. I would say, when those types of tough times come around with funding, or with you feeling like, things are not going the way you want, you need to reach out to people that, that have either already been there, or mentors, or, closest family members who are doing well, and just kind of like, engage with those individuals to figure out how you can sort of get a pick me up. And also, I'd say, when you're building a business, make sure you're also building a solid team. Find those individuals that are sort of like-minded. They don't necessarily have to be a clone of you, but they definitely need to be like-minded in understanding your vision. Because a good team is going to help you sort of break a lot of barriers. So that's where I would be at with pitfalls. But for the most part, business is not the easiest thing. It's going to be some struggles, but if you hang into the fight, there's a lot of reward on the other end of the rainbow.
Right. So you talk about funding. We want to touch on that a little bit more. So
Okay.
you want to start a business. Obviously, you need capital. You need, you got an idea, but you also need some money.
That's right.
Talk to us a little bit more about that. How do you go about funding and having an idea at the same time?
Yeah, so that also involves a lot of risk as well, because it's very scary to go out and ask people for money.
Right.
We're not used to asking people for things. We're used to doing things on our own. So with me, in my first business, the money partially came from what I had made in corporate America. And then also from me having in the U.S., we work on a credit system. So we have 3 different credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and they give you a score. And the banks look at that score, and if it's a good score, they look at it as, sort of gold. They say, this person is worthy of, whatever dollar amount they think you're worthy of. And so with a partner at that time, we end up going to the bank, and we got about $75,000 that was just thrown at us. We only took a small portion of that. We didn't take the whole 75. We took a small portion. So I coupled that money with the money I already had and said, I'm going to let corporate America go, and I'm going to go to Atlanta. But there's other ways to do it. A lot of people that are on this live have individuals that are around them that are liquid, that have the money, whether it's in a 401k, whether it's in a, refinance of the house. There's tons of money around us. I think that we have to get really aggressive, and we need to be open to talking to people about our vision and asking them for a certain dollar amount in exchange for a part of your business. Don't be afraid to give a small portion of your business away to someone that's helping you to get it started. So there's your own personal money, there's the bank's money, and there's friends and family's money. So there's a ton of money around you. Just I would say just go get it.
Right. Absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, man. It's like we're surrounded by a lot of money around us, and it's just all about going to get it and
That's
being
right.
a risk taker, and just being confident and believing in your business and your craft to go get it.
That's right.
So that's all that matters.
Like I'm in New York right now. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm in New York right now. And most of the buildings that people are living in, the brownstones, or if you go upstate New York, you're living in houses, they're over $1 million.
Absolutely.
They're over $1 million. So if a person has a family member that owns one of those buildings, you could easily go to the bank and say, let's do a second mortgage for $100,000 because my kid or my family member, who's the smartest person in the family, has a really good business idea. It's going to be up to you to sell that person on that idea. You have to pitch that business to that family member, and you have to look at them as an investor. So, like I said, it's just all around you. It's about going out there and not being afraid to get it.
Absolutely, absolutely, that's real. So we want to talk more about your app, man. Just to kind of understand a little bit about how you started and what made you want to start your app. I know you touched on that a little bit, moving from corporate America to where you are now. So talk to us a little bit more about your app, like how you started and stuff like that.
Yeah, so with the app business, it's always been a business that I was intrigued by, that I wanted to get into, just didn't know how to get into it. So I started reading I started doing some research, and then throughout that research, I ran into a pretty decent book called App Secrets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so an amazing read. It's inspiring. It talks about companies like WhatsApp and how they sort of was a communication platform for some people that had built it in India because they were having issues with communicating with individuals over there, being over here in America, and how a free application turned into $1 billion idea. So it talks about the Ubers of the world. It talks about the Snapchats and so on.
Right.
But those stories inspired me. But what inspired me the most was I was in my business, and anybody that knows me knows that I have kids. Right. And my kids are as brilliant as I am at their young age. And so my daughter, my oldest daughter, had come to me and she had told me, hey, Dad, I know that you're thinking about letting the business go to this investor. Why don't you take the money and stay in this business, but like put it online? And I was just like, wow, interesting. Put it online. So literally took me back to what I wanted to do in terms of the app. And I said, you know what, this will be a great time to take a risk and try to move forward with building an app. And so we started refining the idea to make it make sense. We found one or two competitors that were out there like StyleSeek, Vagaro, and we started to understand the business models. So we started to build our own business model around those business models that were out there. Because if these companies are making, processing billions of dollars in transactions, we can do it too.
Absolutely.
And even if we fall short and process millions of dollars in transactions, I'm okay with that.
Right.
So, ultimately, I started thinking about it. And the thing about ideas is when you start thinking about it, you start talking to more people about it, and they start connecting you to people who they know that, might be of help or, things along that line. And and just so happened, I was riding the bus in Atlanta from Buckhead going back to my home in Dunwoody, me and my daughter, and had got on the train in Buckhead, and my daughter was playing with this little girl on before we were waiting for the train, but she was playing with this little girl in the meantime, and I was like, who does this little girl belong to? So I immediately sort of went over, saw that she was with a gentleman, and me and him started having conversations around my daughter.
Right.
Years later, this guy's my CTO for my application. So he's the person that is over making sure that the software is being built correctly. So I think that it was a combination of, I had already been in the beauty industry and I really enjoyed and liked what it had to offer. And I knew I wanted to stay in that industry. And so my daughter sort of sparked something in me and said, hey, let's take this thing online. So I started to dig deeper into that, and we created it. God started pulling the pieces together, as long as you speak it, those pieces will start coming together, and they did. And so we launched the application in February of 2020. And then Corona hit, that next month. And so we had to sort of not necessarily stop the operations, but we wanted to make sure that we didn't have individuals that were partaking in our applications and doing beauty services with individuals, and then it lead back to someone catching COVID or so on.
Sure.
So we put a halt to all the marketing and advertising of the business, and we started to, sort of continue to refine the business to make sure that when this country does open back up, or when the world opens back up, that our application is, ready to go.
Sure.
So yeah, man, it's been an interesting journey with Salon Home, and that's sort of where we are right now.
Absolutely. Oh, that's amazing to hear, man. That's a good story. So, how important is it, man, like, to connect with people and make, these conversations? Because you never know who you're talking to. Just
Exactly.
like the story you just told us right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That person that you connect to could be the person who invests in your idea.
Right.
That could be the person that helps you get the idea from, where you thought you were good to great.
Right.
So it's really important to networking has always been sort of a key in creating business models or just evolving your life in general. So I definitely say that you want to make sure that you're if you're interested in a certain business idea, you're researching the market, you're attending networking events that are free, and you're connecting with individuals that have like minds. Because you might be the one with the idea, the other person might like the idea and be the one with the money. So it all comes together as one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like a partnership, man. Like, you always got to make sure you involve people. Like, we really can't do everything on our own. Like, you got to be a team, and, you got to make sure you got things in control. And
that's right.
That's really what we need.
That's right.
How does a person get started with building a mobile app? So let's say somebody's starting up and, they just want to start up and get their mobile app. How would they?
Yeah, and that's a good question too. And I think right now the app business is outside of like the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency and the stocks and stuff like that, it's probably one of the best businesses to be in.
Right.
I looked at a statistic and it said people look at their cell phones at least 150 times a day.
Yeah,
if that's looking at just too much, but all business is being done online, and more specifically on the mobile phone.
Absolutely.
So it's really important that we as people, really get into the game, really get involved. In terms of the African American community, it's really important because there's not enough of us in that market, playing in that market. As we notice, and this is just to kind of give you some backstory, as we notice, applications are starting to be the new wave on the stock market. So, there's not regular companies are still going to the market, but, there's been more like acquisitions with mobile applications, Uber, Lyft, Snapchat has Pinterest, these are all mobile applications that are getting billion-dollar evaluations and on the stock market. And most of these applications, to download them, they're absolutely free. So, who's to say that you don't have the next, app idea that can go to the stock market and it immediately will change your life. But just to kind of go back to your question, it all revolves around. It's a business. It's a startup. So with any business, you have to have a good plan. So building out your plan in terms of how that business looks is important. With apps, it's just a bit different, just because you have to, once you build that plan out and you understand how you want people to interact through your application, you have to go and build that, what they call UX and UI. And that's really just the user interface and the user experience. So you have to build those things out. So you're building the different screens, and then you have to build the, you have to build the connectivity and how those screens connect. And then once you do that, then you have to search for either a team to develop it. You can go out and find like-minded people that will help you develop your idea for free, or a piece of the company, or just to be involved in the company. So you find those developers. There's tons of websites out there like Upwork, Fiverr. Fiverr's a really good one. It's a cheap one. Yeah. And that, you find those individuals that will help you build that thing. Once you build it, then you start to look at putting it on the stores. With the stores, the thing about, it's two stores. It's a couple more. It's the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Those are the biggest store markets. When you build an application with Google, they don't do a whole bunch of testing of your application. So you can literally build something and just throw it up on Google and get your business going. With Apple, it's a bit more strenuous, because they go through a testing process before they actually allow you to launch on the Apple Store. So those apps that are on the Apple Store, they've been vetted big time to make sure that our phones are not getting buggy because of your application. So it's doing that business plan. It's building out that UX and UI, that experience and that look. It's finding someone to code that so that it functions. And then it's about building out a marketing plan and business strategy for the business once it's actually launched onto the store. And so we can get into marketing, but people know what marketing is about. There's tons of ways to market it. Social media is your friend. I'd say in the beginning, you want to be as lean as possible. Spend as little as you can to get the word out. With applications, in the very beginning, it's really important that you start to build that organic. You want that organic growth versus paying thousands of dollars somewhere, and then you get that instant growth, but it doesn't stick. So that's really important. And then after that, it's just about scaling it. How do you take it from where it's at to make it better and better and better and better and better, reaching more people and more people and more people. So it's a pretty in-depth sort of process, but it's something that I also help individuals with. Like, if someone on this live is interested in building their own mobile application, feel free to inbox me. Feel free to reach out to me, and I can also walk you through, hold your hand, and we can get that application done.
Go. All right, Alex Roberson, Woke Podcast. We still got some time. We're still here, y'all. So anybody want to ask any questions, feel free to shoot them here. You know what I'm saying? Just click the little question mark, which is on the right bottom. And if it's a good question, well, every question is good. Just shoot your questions. And, the man got his glasses off right now, so you see him here. You know what I'm saying?
Executive style.
The executive style. Right.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, how do you do your research for competitors before you start a business? Because that's very important. You got to know your market. You got to know demographics and stuff like that. Talk to us a little bit about that.
That's right. So luckily we have the World Wide Web. Everything's available these days. So one of the things that I do when I start a business, I go and scour the internet. I go to Google and I type in whatever the keywords is for my business, salon mobile app. And then whatever pulls up is, typically, first line of research that I go to. So I'll click on that and go to it. Advertisements will come up. Advertisements are really key when you're doing your research, because if if those companies are advertising, that means that they either just got some funding or they're just like a big company that has a lot of money. And if they're in your market, there's somebody you should be looking at.
Right.
So, internet, definitely, Google, definitely the first place of research. Go to the app store, and type in those same keywords and see which app comes up. If you're doing a driving app, type in, hail a cab or, rent a car, and see what comes up in the app store. That's also another really good line of research. I also go in the US, we have patents and trademark office, where, companies are creating patents, because with these applications, it's software and it's a system. So with these systems, they have certain processes, and you could go to the patent and trademark office and online, and same thing. Type in, salon or mobile app that does this, and something will come up, and then you can go and like literally explore names to see if they're still companies that exist or don't exist. There is endless amounts of information on the internet for you to research and find your competitors. It's not the hardest thing. You can like literally just type in something and everything that you need will come up.
Right. Yeah. It's very, very important and easy at the same time to, go on the internet because all the answers are there. You can pretty much search everything you need and sort of understand better and know where you're going to.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing that you're able to do that.
I guess another way too is, ask the people around you. Like, if you're thinking about opening a restaurant, ask people what restaurant do they go to the most, and then figure out who that restaurant is and what they're doing. Because obviously they're popular. They're popular enough to be, talked about in your network. So go and check them out. See what they're doing. See what their customer service is like. See what their food tastes like and things like that. So much information and research right in front of our eyes. So it's not hard. But I think the most important part of research is you don't really have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So you have the idea, and you're going to do it a certain way. But guess what? There's so many other ideas out there that might be a little similar, but you have this little secret sauce that you're going to put onto it. So you just go find out what the shell looks like, and then you put your secret sauce in the shell, and then you're good to go. I think sometimes people tend to overthink with thinking that they can create from scratch the next big thing, and you can. You really can. Will it take a longer time? It might. But you absolutely can create a new trend, a new wave, a new idea. It might take you longer versus, saying, hey, I want to do an app, and going and seeing how those other app competitors structured their app, because more than likely what you put in your app, what they put in their app, and if you put it in your app, users are going to use the app. If you put your secret sauce on it and you don't cover some of the other bases, it might be an issue when people come to your app. So I'd say don't think too hard about it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel totally. If you stumble upon a new way of doing something, do it. But people don't like to change from what they're doing to something totally different. They like similar but different. Right. So give it to them in a similar way to put your different spin on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it takes some adapting. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to adapt to the new life thing. We're human beings. We like to get used to one thing. We don't really want to start a new life first.
Exactly.
It's not easy to have that, starting all over again. It's like, sometimes it can be fear, but as a risk taker, you just have to go right in and do what you got to do.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, it's about adapting. So you want to allow people to adapt in the best way possible. And so if you're trying to change them completely, it's going to be tough. I think we have a question.
Absolutely. So do you think utilizing YouTube is a good resource for researching?
Yeah. It's a good question. 100%. There's places like TED Talks. You can go and listen to TED Talks on whatever topic it is that you're thinking about getting into. There's educational programs through like Stanford School of Business. They offer information and education on a lot of different topics.
Right.
So yeah, YouTube is sort of, to me, like Google. It's not only can you go and see it on Google, but if you want to hear people actually explain and talk about it, you go to YouTube. So they're in alignment.
Absolutely. Good question, Tiffany. Good question. We appreciate that. So
I got a challenge.
Go ahead.
We got 12 people on this live. I challenge each person to give us one question.
Absolutely. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, everybody shoot some questions. Let's see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some questions in. All right. While we wait for everybody to shoot some questions, how do you balance your work life?
Oh gosh.
You said you've got kids and everything. What's your work balance like? Or do you balance it?
I mean, thank God for Cash App. My kids hit me up and they need money. Just go straight through Cash App. I'm glad I don't have to meet up with you anymore.
Right.
But no, like it is a challenge. And I do understand, from being in corporate, why work-life balance is really important. Sometimes you can get really consumed with work. But if you're not balancing, those individuals that you have in your life that helps you through life, then, you start to look a little funny, and then, now you're just stuck over here on the corporate business side by yourself. So important to balance those. The way I balance them is I try to set time aside to every day to talk to my kids.
Right.
That's really important. May not talk to them every single day, but I definitely talk to them every single week.
That's good.
One of my daughters is here in New York right now with me, and so we're going to go to a really cool museum before we leave back to Atlanta. So little things like that. In terms of me personally, I like to take long walks and things like that, just kind of like breathe and gather my thoughts. So yeah, it's really important to take care of yourself. So I try to do that a lot. I have a ton of friends that keep me balanced. Actually, one of my friends, Josh, who is a broker in New York, has a question also. Josh is the man in New York to talk to when you're talking about real estate, period.
Right. Okay. Josh, what's going on? So Josh's question is, what advice would you give young entrepreneurs starting out?
Good question, Josh.
Yeah.
Look at
Really
you. Look at you. With young entrepreneurs, especially like with the sort of the group of young individuals that we have now, they're not as fearful as people 20 years ago. They have a pretty good go-getter mentality. I would tell them to definitely jump out there in the market and start innovating. I would tell them to listen to their elders, because that's another thing too. It's like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have people who have been through things and that can help you, get to where you need to a bit faster. Right. So with those young individuals, I would say, jump out there on the whim. You have nothing to lose. Start spending your money and failing quick. Right. The quicker you fail, the quicker you will get to success.
Very, very good advice. Yes. What was that, Brother Michael? Brother Michael.
Oh, yes. Michael X. Michael 2X.
Yeah.
It's my good friend and brother.
Okay. Yeah, we got
Thanks, Michael.
We got some good peoples in here, man. And this is actually the first time that we've had over 14 people in here. So I saw we had like 15 people. So you broke the record, my brother.
Hey, I think we have another good question, and it's a really good one. It's
right.
So it's, what is it?
My question is, who is your model?
It's Anatos.
Who inspires you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Really good question. So I'll answer that as genuine as I can.
Right.
So growing up, if you know me, so I grew up watching Puff Daddy do business deals with people. I know that everyone has their, sort of understanding and, of who Puffy is and so on. But I grew up watching Puffy do business deals. I wanted to be like Puff at one point. I grew away from that and started reading a lot of books. One of the most influential books in my life was Rich Dad, Poor Dad story. Where, you have two different dads. They both think differently. And one dad, basically made a ton of money in real estate stocks and starting businesses. And that was his friend's dad. And so I kind of, modeled a lot of what I wanted to do around what Rich Dad spoke about. He spoke about starting up business. Right. He spoke about investing in the stock market, and he also spoke about real estate. Those are the three premium things in the world that will absolutely bring a ton of value to your life. And so another one that I read also, this is going to be very controversial. I don't mean it. I don't mean it to be, but I read a book by Donald Trump,
right? Okay,
called the Art of the Deal. And it was an interesting read because it gave you insight into how people or these higher powers are structuring deals. So that's a good one. Richard F. Lewis also wrote a book called "Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?"
Oh, I know that book.
That's an amazing read. So I think those are some of the books that inspired me. Puffy really inspired me in terms of his drive and, sort of how he, kind of keeps things moving. So for the most part, I'd say, finding a mentor is absolutely important and key to starting a business. And also reading the right books. That's important. We don't read enough. We read like little short things that are on like the phone and things like that. No, sit down and read a book. Find some good books and read a book.
Yeah. So we got another question here. So how important is it to have your own LLC for your business? To have LLC for your business? How important is that?
Yeah. So another good question. I also, I in terms of structuring a business, I don't necessarily give business advice on structuring a business, but LLC is a limited liability corporation here in the U.S. And so it's definitely important to have some type of business structure, whether you're trying to put a partnership together, whether you want to be an LLC because of all of the legalities around LLC, or if you want to be a corporation. I'd say, number one, it's important to start a business, whatever the business might be. But I'd also say consult with individuals who, are, more versed in that area. And that's kind of what they do. They're business consultants and things like that. But an LLC is a good place to start. It's not expensive either. It's like, depending on the state that you're in, it's like $130. If you're in California, it might be $230. So get started. And a lot of people that were in the pandemic that did not have a business could not partake into some of the SBA and loans and things like that were out there. So they missed a lot of money by not having a business structure. So I'd say get a business today.
Right. And I know those checks just came in. So, somebody that's listening right now, it's time to invest.
It's time to invest. It's time to start that business. Yeah.
So we got another question here. So how do you explain to people how important building your credit really is? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, the first thing I would say is you first need to, because a lot of people don't look at their credit. So they have no clue what their credit score really is. They're looking at like Credit Karma, and Credit Karma is lying to them. So go and pull your credit through the 3 credit bureaus and find out what that score really is. Then secondly, it's absolutely key in America to have the best credit you can have because credit allows you access to things. It allows you access to credit cards, bank loans. If you're looking for a house, if you're looking for a car, you're going to need credit for all these things. So I'd say just, number one point, go and look at your credit score, figure out what it is. Number two, if you have negative things on your credit, get with somebody who knows how to help you with taking those things off your credit report so that your score can go up.
Right. Absolutely. So in the UK, it's actually £12 to start your own business.
Really?
Yeah, it's very
in the entire UK?
absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna send you I'm gonna send you 15 pounds. I need you to start Salon Home over there.
I got
Take care of that, brother.
I got you, man. That is absolutely nothing. Like it's
wow.
so cheap.
How does it work? Are they involved in your business? Because I know, and the reason why I ask is because I know in China, I think the government is involved in your business if you start a business. But in the U.S., we own our own business, but we pay taxes to the government off of the money that we make on our business. How does it work in the UK if you're?
So I think you would have to probably pay some money back to them too.
Okay, like taxes. Okay.
Yeah. You probably definitely have to pay some back to them and stuff. But if you want to get a corporation, because I once had my own little business here, Definitive Dreams Entertainment, and I was actually incorporated with an American company, so I had to pay a little extra. And then I realized later that you can just start your business for £12, which is way cheaper. So
I hear in France, Agathe says in France that it's €1.
Oh, in France, it's €1. Whoa, that's
interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Agathe also has a question. Do you see that question on there?
What motivates you to keep going even on your worst days? Right.
Music. Music
absolutely.
is important. Music, and also just kind of like just taking a walk and breathing and just knowing that, where I've come from.
Right.
I think that is really important. I started this journey from Jacksonville, Florida, where, we didn't have access to a lot of things.
Right.
And so now even today I'm in New York City working out of a coffee shop. So just knowing that I've made it further than where I've come from is inspiring to me. But I think that, that's not even enough. Sometimes you have to have friends around you that have really good energy that can help you that can sort of,
take you over the next day.
Yeah, they need to give you that good energy so that when you're having your tough days, that, your energy is built up. They if you go to church and in the Bible, they talk about like your cup being full or your cup being like not full and so on. So you need friends that can help fill your cup.
Absolutely.
And then you also need to be at the time when your cup is full, you need to help other people fill their cup. It's important for us to help us in order to grow.
Right. All right. So we got another question right here. It says, you have some really good advice and some good book references. Do you plan to write your own book one day? Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I do. I've been through a lot. I mean, as a lot of people on this live know, I mean, I've had a pretty unique journey in life.
All right.
And I've met some amazing people, and I continue to meet amazing people. So yeah, I will write a book. I do have an idea of what the title would be. I can't tell you because then you'll go trademark it and copyright it, and I'll be coming after you. But
that's gonna be trouble.
Yeah. But no, I do. I think that in our journey in life, I think that it's really important for us to document it before we die. So that we can pass that on. It's all a part of history. Like what you went through in life is history. So it's important to give that back.
That's real. Okay, so are there any other markets that you're thinking of getting into? So have you thought about coming to Europe?
Yeah, interesting that you say that. So one of our investors in the Salon Home app, he's a Nigerian doctor in New York. And what we've done is we've proposed to him that we are interested in, because it's all about users when it comes to applications.
Right.
If you can build up enough users equal dollars. Even if they're free users, it doesn't matter. So what we're looking into is we have developers that we're currently talking to in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
Because Nigeria is a huge market. The GDP is a lot different from a lot of the other markets in Africa. So we're looking to expand into Lagos, Nigeria, South Africa, and Ghana. In Ghana, because Ghana is doing really well right now in terms of allowing Americans to come over. They're getting tons of money for what is it, the passports and things like that, their program. So yeah, so Europe's on the list. It's not the market that we're going to initially launch in. We're going to initially launch in the US market, and then it will expand to like Europe and maybe even Canada. But first on the list is just to make sure that our investors are happy. And so US, and then we're going to immediately go into the African market.
Absolutely. It's really good, man. It's a lot we've talked about, and we still got some time. We still got about like 5-10 minutes. So
yeah, no rush.
Questions, shoot them. Shoot them
rush.
through. But all right, the next question I want to ask you is: so we're in a pandemic right now. We got this COVID-19 came out of nowhere, and how has this affected you in any way? Has this impacted you, or what has it done?
Yeah. So, just to be honest on that front, with COVID, and my prayers go out to every family that has lost someone during the pandemic. It's truly been like very catastrophic in our time. I'm sure there's been some other things that have happened in other people's time that have been like catastrophic, but we've lost millions of people within like a year's time. So, so outside of it affecting in that way, in terms of my business, to be honest with you, it's kind of helped us because we're a startup. So we're new to the market. When COVID happened, we had just launched the business at one of the shows in Atlanta called the Bronner Brothers Show. So we launched our platform. We were the only technology company in the building. And a month later, COVID happened. The good thing about that was we felt like sort of scaling back and not doing any marketing and promotion to people downloading the application. We felt like that was a good thing because we could start building on the application and just really making all the functionalities and things work really good, so that when things do open up and the users are using it, that they can get the experience they want. But the reason why we decided to do that is because, think about it. I mean, we're a beauty app. If someone books an appointment through our application during COVID, and then that person goes to the beauty salon, or if that person goes to that person's house and cuts that person's hair and catches COVID, it's attached to our name. So it's directly attached to our business, and we could show up on the news. We could be written in a report, blah, blah, blah. So we felt like for those reasons, we felt like the sort of the pandemic sort of helped us, sort of get our act together a bit more. Yeah.
So you've thought about like adjusting and health and safety because of the pandemic. You've sort of like had time to look back and think about like how you can do things different. You've had enough time for that, right?
Yeah, we have. And I think most importantly, that wasn't something that we didn't really look at health and safety. We looked to our professionals to, take those health and safety precautions themselves. So now with our applications, I mean, it's a big thing that we're talking about now. We're not necessarily talking about COVID rules. We're more talking about health and safety rules that have COVID in it. But we're mostly talking about health and safety rules. So we're going to be implementing that on our website. We're going to be implementing that through the application. And so we're still going to be counting on our professionals that are on the platform to do everything in their powers to make sure that, they're not spreading certain viruses and things like that. And in that they're doing the right things with their clients. Yep.
Sure. So I missed a comment over here. I want to get to Albert's one because I can see Albert Roberson, he's got a comment right there. But I missed a comment up here if we scroll up. So I think the name is Agatha. She said, we are waiting for a Salon Home in France.
Agatha. Yeah, Agatha. Right. We'll be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Albert got a question here. It says, how would someone interested in working or entering, what does that say? Interning with Salon Home retail.
Probably interviewing with Salon Home. So great question, Albert. So great question. So on our website, at the bottom of our website, which is salonhome.com, there's a career section. So you can go to www.salonhome.com, click on the career section, find the career that fits you, and then you'll be speaking to me in no time.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. That's really good. So people reach out.
That's right.
Go check out the website, and if you want to intern, Straight up. You reach out and you be in touch with him, Alex.
That's right.
So like, how can people reach you, man? Where can people reach you at? You know, your social media links and stuff like that.
So obviously, since we're here on Instagram, it's YBC Group. That's my Instagram. Another Instagram that we have for Salon Home is Salon Home Official on Instagram. On Twitter, it's Salon Home on Twitter. But most importantly, just go to our website. Any place that you fill in on the website is going to link back to our corporate email address, and I will be able to get in touch with you via that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone can write the links down on the chat, please. I know I got some people in here, so there we go. Salon Home Official on Instagram. Let me just pin this right quick.
Well, in www.salonhome.com.
Yeah, www. too. So one more question I got for you. So what's next for you, man? You know, we come out of this pandemic, hop right in. What's next for you?
Yeah, well, the future is bright, as I mentioned. If you made it out of this pandemic safe, I mean, there's only upward, potential for you after this. I have, like I said, plans on expanding the application into the African market. I'm doing a lot with family in terms of, some investments and things like that I'm looking that are going to be really good for the future. But I also want to help people when it comes to getting into this software game. So if you're interested in building your own mobile app, there's tons of ways that we can do it. There's a no-code way, there's a code way, it's just so many things that we can do. But I'm interested in helping individuals be involved in software. So if you are interested, DM me, at YBC Group, and then we can talk about your ideas.
Absolutely. I know you said you want to start something up in South Africa. So South Africa on the map is just right next to Zimbabwe. So have you ever thought about crossing into Zimbabwe? Because I got people out there, so we can always make it happen.
Some of those countries, the dollar value of the dollar is a little weird and different. So and then also when you're building software, you have to think about software that's available or financial software that's available to tie into your software in order to be able to process the dollars the right way. So currently we're at the, we're sort of at the knee of our sort of individuals that are developing money banking softwares in other countries. So if the software isn't available, then, we can't go into that country. Currently, we use an application called Stripe for our payment processing, and that's who Lyft uses, Uber uses, Airbnb, all those companies use that tool. And they just bought a company in Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, and that's the reason why we're able to go into those markets. Because quite frankly, you got to think about taxes when you're thinking about building things and making money in America as well as Africa. You're always going to have to pay to be in those markets. So so Zimbabwe and things like that, they'll be on the list a bit later, but right now the markets that we are going into is Lagos, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. Those are the ones that make sense for us right now.
Right. Yeah. So Zimbabwe, for example, they actually are using US dollars. So that would be a good one for you.
Oh, nice.
US dollars. Yeah. So you should check.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This place is closing. You'll see me. This place is closing, so I'm going to get out of here. But you'll still be able to see me.
All right, cool. Yeah, we got maybe 5 minutes or something.
All right, no worries.
Anybody got some questions? Go ahead and ask.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Ask away. Just hit up the little question mark on the bottom here and, ask some questions. I'm giving y'all some time right now so y'all can ask. I didn't set up as much questions because I needed the people to actually cooperate and, you know what I'm saying, be in here and ask questions too, so, and interact. So this is Woke Podcast. You know what I'm saying? We on and this is Alex. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in. It's been a great time. That's the app right there. You see it? That's the flyer banner on the wall right there. Beautiful anywhere, anytime. Y'all see there? That's the logo on top. Yep. Zoom in a little bit on that, bro. Please zoom in a little bit so they can see. All right. So you got Google Play right there.
Well, we just got accepted to the Apple Store also. So,
Okay.
as I mentioned, this is an older flyer, but all of our marketing campaigns are about to really get going. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Our number one competitor, and let me take this off. I apologize, but our number one competitor, Style Seat, they processed $6.5 billion in transactions in 2019.
Wow.
As I mentioned, mobile marketplaces are the future.
Yeah.
We just did a campaign on a platform called what is it? Not Republic. It's a crowdfunding campaign that we're working on, and individuals that are interested, I will also send them that link. You can invest. But through the crowdfunding campaign, you're probably going to be able to get perks. But if you're interested in getting, let's say, shares of our company, then you would probably want to do a more private sort of investment through myself and our attorneys. But all of that information can be sent to you. Just go ahead and DM me, and then I can talk to you about any of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. So that's amazing, man. We truly appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? And we appreciate your time and all the information that we had to absorb. And you know, it's a lot that we talked about, and I'm sure a lot of people have learned and took some notes. And you know, this was a great interview, man. We truly appreciate that. And you broke the record at the same time, so we appreciate that.
I appreciate you. I know that we had this set up, you know, once before, but you know, lots of things come up. I have investors, I have attorneys, I have so many things that are happening on this end. Just because we're you know, like a month out from relaunching the platform, and then it's gonna be on both of the stores. So there's so much that comes up. So I apologize for that first one, but I think that we did a really good job on this one, and I'd love to be invited back if that's a possibility once we launch.
Absolutely. Hey, we would definitely want to get you back on. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to keep in touch. We always get people that we get on to come back on. So take, you know, to continue from where we left off. So we want to kind of understand what you got going on and what's coming after and stuff like that. So we'll definitely check back in, man, and holler at you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I appreciate you again, Bling. And yeah, we'll be in talks. I appreciate everyone for joining. If you did not get your question answered, just DM me. I will answer all questions. But I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate the crew that we had today.
So one more question, not even a question, one more thing before you go. So this podcast is called Woke Podcast, working on killing everything. So what would you want to leave for the people right now? What do you want to leave for the people as we end this interview right now?
We're at the most monumental time in our economy, in the world. If you are out here and if you have dreams and aspirations, there's no better time to achieve your dreams and your aspirations than now. You can do anything, and I know people hear it and it's so cliche. You can do anything you put your mind to. You got to grind. You got to get out here and you got to network. You got to get out here and put your money where your mouth is. But anything that you want, this is the time. We've looked at, you know, things like Bitcoin come to the market, you know, as a decentralized currency. And, you know, years ago, it went from, let's say, 100, 500 bucks to 20,000. Then it came back down. And it went from 5,000 in the beginning of 2019 to now it's at $60,000.
Right.
This is the time, people. We need to wake up.
Yeah.
This is the time. This is the time to get with people like myself and Bling. This is the time to talk to, you know, your elders and, you know, figure out how they can help you. But most importantly, this is the time. This is our time to shine. And And yeah, I just want to leave them with that. Don't be afraid. Go for your dreams and aspirations, and go for them now.
That's real. That's real. We appreciate that. So I know we got your friends that are tuned in right now, and they're probably entrepreneurs or they got a business and stuff like that. So anybody that's tuned in right now, feel free to DM me if you want to be on the show, and we can get that set up. So just let me know. It's as simple as that. All right. So all right, man. Yo, I just want to say, man, I wish you the best with your business and everything you want to do in life, man. You know what I'm saying? I wish you all the blessings in the world. And yeah, man. Hope to talk to you again soon. All right?
Likewise, I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Everybody enjoy the rest of your days as well.
All right, man. You too, man. Stay safe, brother.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, peace.